Ethan Cole leaned back in his seat as the small scout ship slid through the swirling clouds of Araloon's upper atmosphere. The planet stretched beneath him like a vast painting. Emerald forests, sparkling rivers, and jagged mountains touched by golden sunlight. His heart raced. He had explored many worlds, but none felt as alive as this one. "Control, this is Explorer 1. We're entering orbit. Visuals are astonishing," he reported. A quiet voice came over the comms. "Copy, Ethan. Proceed with caution. Sensors detect no intelligent life, but readings are unusual." Ethan smiled. Unusual was an understatement. The scanners picked up strange energy patterns unlike anything in the human database. They seemed alive, like the planet itself was breathing. He pushed open the cockpit hatch and felt the soft hiss of the atmosphere outside. Gravity here was slightly lighter than Earth's, making each step feel almost like floating. Ethan adjusted his pack and checked the small drone hovering beside him. Its cameras would help him map the terrain and spot potential dangers. "Looks peaceful. Too peaceful," he muttered. The first forest he entered was dense. Towering trees with silver bark stretched toward the sky, their leaves glimmering faintly like stars. Strange flowers bloomed in clusters, radiating soft, multicolored light. Ethan knelt to examine one, brushing its petals gently. They felt alive in a way that sent a chill down his spine. A rustling noise came from deeper in the forest. Ethan froze. Out here, even a small animal could be dangerous. He reached for his sidearm, not to shoot, but to be ready. Then he saw it. A small creature no bigger than a rabbit, with translucent skin and tiny wings fluttering like a dragonfly. It stared at him with luminous eyes. Ethan smiled softly. "Hello there. Don't be afraid." The creature hesitated, then hopped closer. Suddenly a shadow passed overhead. Ethan looked up to see a sky beast, its wings enormous and glinting with silver scales. The little creature squeaked and ran into the underbrush. The sky beast's shadow passed, and the forest was quiet again. Ethan exhaled. "Okay, peaceful is relative," he whispered. He pressed forward, guided by a faint energy reading on his scanner. It led him to a clearing, and there at the center stood a figure that made him stop in his tracks. She was tall, with skin that shimmered faintly like moonlight. Her silver hair flowed down her back, and her eyes glowed softly like liquid stars. She wore flowing robes that seemed to move with the wind even when there was none. Ethan felt a sudden weight in his chest, a mix of awe and fear. Who are you?" he asked, though his voice sounded small in the vast clearing. She stepped forward, her movements graceful. "I am Lysera," she said, her voice melodic but firm. "You are a human. Why have you come to Araloon?" Ethan hesitated. I'm an explorer. My team is studying new planets, new life. We did not mean to intrude." Lysera's eyes narrowed slightly. "Humans have come before. Some took, some destroyed, some left. But Araloon is under an ancient oath. Whoever touches our world must protect all life here. Not just one, but all." Ethan blinked. "Protect all life?" "Yes," Lysera said, her voice steady. "Our people, the Valyrians, have lived for thousands of cycles under this oath. Any outsider who enters our world must accept the duty, take one life and leave, and the balance collapses." Ethan's mind raced. I don't understand. I'm just a human. How can I protect an entire planet?" Lysera stepped closer, her eyes softening. "Humans are different. Your species has courage. You have ingenuity. You may be the first who can truly honor the oath." Before Ethan could respond, a sudden cry pierced the air. He turned to see a small Valyrian child caught in a trap, a tangle of vines that glowed faintly with energy. The child struggled, fear in its eyes. Without thinking, Ethan ran forward. He carefully untangled the vines, speaking softly to calm the child. When the last vine fell away, the child hugged him tightly. Lysera appeared at the edge of the clearing. "You see," she said, her voice calm but commanding. "Saving one is easy. Saving all, that is the oath." Ethan looked around. The forest seemed to pulse with life, the trees and creatures watching him. The weight of responsibility settled on his shoulders. He realized this was no ordinary exploration mission. This planet, these people, needed him. He glanced at Lysera. I'll try. I'll do what I can." Lysera's lips curved slightly. "Trying is not enough, human. You must commit. By the ancient oath, your life is bound to ours. Protect us all, or leave not at all." Ethan swallowed hard. He had faced danger before. Hostile planets, storms, and wild creatures, but nothing like this. The idea of protecting an entire species, a whole planet, was overwhelming, yet he felt a spark inside him. This was bigger than fear. This was about doing what was right. A low rumble shook the ground. Ethan turned to see the shadow of the sky beast returning. Its wings spread wide, its eyes fixed on the clearing. The small Valyrian child screamed. Ethan didn't think. He reached for his pack and pulled out a compact energy net. With careful aim, he threw it over the sky beast. It struggled, but the net held. The creature let out a low growl, then, sensing no immediate threat, it took off into the sky. The child looked at Ethan with wide eyes. "You saved me?" "I saved you," Ethan said gently, "and I'll do my best to save all of you." Lysera stepped forward, placing a hand on Ethan's shoulder. "You have courage, human. Courage is the first step. But courage alone will not fulfill the oath. You must understand our ways, our weaknesses, and the dangers that threaten us." Ethan nodded. "Then teach me." "I'll learn." Lysera's eyes glimmered. "You will. But know this. Heirloom tests all who enter. The forest itself is alive. It judges your choices, your heart, your strength. Do not fail, human." Ethan looked around. The sunlight filtering through the silver trees created a serene glow, but beneath it he sensed the planet's hidden challenges. Every rustle in the leaves, every flicker of light could be a test. He took a deep breath. "Then I won't fail. I'll protect your people. All of them." Lysera nodded once. "Good, come. The first lesson awaits." She led him deeper into the forest. As they walked, Ethan saw creatures he had never imagined, some tiny and delicate, others enormous but gentle. All of them moved with a rhythm, a harmony that seemed connected to the planet itself. "This is why the oath exists," Lysera said. "Every life here is connected. Endanger one and all suffer. Protect one and you protect many. The choice is yours, human." Ethan listened, absorbing everything. He had faced danger, yes, but this was different. This was about responsibility, empathy, and courage in ways he had never known. He knew mistakes could cost lives. By the time they reached a small clearing with glowing stones arranged in a circle, Ethan understood the path ahead would not be simple. The planet's beauty was a gift, but also a test, and the ancient oath was a challenge that would demand everything from him. Lysera stopped and turned to him. "The trial begins now. Are you ready?" Ethan squared his shoulders. "I'm ready. For your people, for Heirloom, I'll do whatever it takes." She nodded, a faint smile touching her lips. "Then let the first trial begin, human. Remember, you cannot take just one. Protect all, or you cannot leave." The words echoed in his mind as he stepped into the circle, the light of the stones warming his skin. Ethan felt the weight of a new purpose settle over him. He was no longer just an explorer. He was a protector, a human chosen to defend a world unlike any other. And in that moment he realized that his courage, his ingenuity, and his heart would be tested in ways he had never imagined. But he was determined. He would honor the ancient oath. The forest seemed to hum around him, alive with expectation. Ethan took a deep breath and stepped forward, ready to face whatever Heirloom had in store. The adventure had begun. Ethan followed Lysera deeper into the heart of the forest. Every step he took felt alive beneath him. The ground was soft and hummed faintly, as if the planet itself was aware of his presence. Strange plants leaned toward him, their glowing leaves casting soft light over his path. Lysera walked ahead, her silver hair flowing behind her. She moved with ease, gliding over roots and rocks as if the terrain welcomed her. Ethan struggled to keep up, but he refused to complain. He knew that speed and strength alone would not save him here. He had to understand the land. After some time, they reached a wide clearing. Small Valyrian children played among clusters of luminous flowers. Some floated slightly above the ground, their tiny wings fluttering. Ethan's heart softened at the sight. Protecting them would not be easy, but it was necessary. Lysera turned to him. "This is the first lesson, human. Observe life, understand it, and protect it. The forest tests your choices. Sometimes the danger is not obvious." Before Ethan could respond, a sharp cry echoed through the trees. One of the children screamed, pointing toward a glowing river. Ethan ran to the edge and saw a creature struggling in the water, a large aquatic animal with glistening scales thrashing violently. "Help it!" the child shouted. Ethan examined the situation quickly. The creature was not attacking, but it could easily drown. Its large tail thrashed, sending water spraying. Ethan realized the riverbank was slippery. One wrong step could send him into the water. He scanned the surroundings and noticed several thick vines hanging from trees. Carefully, he grabbed one and swung it toward the struggling animal, wrapping it around a sturdy rock. With quick, calculated movements, he created a makeshift harness. Then, using all his strength, he pulled the creature to the shore. The child clapped and cheered. "You saved it." Ethan panted, wiping sweat from his forehead. "We saved it," he corrected gently. He looked at Lysera, who nodded approvingly. "You acted with courage and thought," she said. "Good, but courage alone is not enough. You must act with understanding. Every choice has consequences. That river is connected to the forest. Endanger one life and others will suffer." Ethan frowned. "Connected? How?" Lysera led him to a tree with wide, translucent leaves. "This forest is alive. The water feeds the plants feed the creatures. If you harm one part, the whole balance is affected. You must think beyond what you see." Ethan listened carefully. It reminded him of Earth's ecosystems, but amplified. Here, the connection was almost tangible. He felt a new weight of responsibility settle on him. Suddenly, a rustling noise came from the dense trees. Ethan turned, scanning the area. A pack of small predators, cat-like creatures with sharp claws and glowing eyes, emerged. They were moving toward the children. "Stop!" Ethan shouted instinctively. The predators paused, sizing him up. Ethan realized he had no weapon powerful enough to fight them directly. But he had his wits. He picked up several glowing stones from the clearing and arranged them in a circle. Then, using a small energy flare from his pack, he ignited them. The light startled the creatures, forcing them back. They hissed, then disappeared into the shadows. The children ran to him, hugging his legs. Ethan smiled faintly. "Stay close. Always stay together." Lysera's eyes shone with pride. "You did well, human. You protected many with wisdom, not just strength. This is the essence of the oath." They continued through the forest, reaching a steep cliff that overlooked a valley. The view was breathtaking. Rivers glimmered like silver threads, and massive creatures moved in herds below. But Ethan noticed something troubling. The herds were scattered, agitated, and the valley seemed strangely silent in places. "What's wrong?" he asked. Lysera's expression darkened. "The valley has been disturbed. Some outsiders came before. They tried to take one of our kind and failed, but the damage remains. You must understand. Protection is not always immediate. Sometimes you act to prevent disaster before it begins." Ethan nodded slowly. He was beginning to understand the depth of the ancient oath. Protecting the Valyrians was more than saving a single life. It was about ensuring the safety and balance of the entire planet. Their next challenge came quickly. A low rumble shook the ground. Ethan looked down to see a massive herd of Aralunian grazers stampeding toward a cliff. Small creatures were caught in the chaos, unable to escape. "Act," Lysera shouted. Ethan scanned the area. Using fallen branches, vines, and rocks, he created barriers to redirect the herd. He shouted instructions to the children, who followed his lead bravely. Slowly, they managed to guide the herd away from the cliff. When the danger passed, Ethan collapsed to his knees, exhausted. "That was too close," he said. Lysera placed a hand on his shoulder. "You acted decisively. You saved many, but remember, human, exhaustion is part of this journey. The oath demands endurance. Courage without persistence is not enough." Ethan nodded, feeling both proud and humbled. Every success reminded him of his purpose, but every challenge reminded him how much more he had to learn. As they continued, Lysera began teaching him about Valyrian culture. She showed him sacred trees that held memories of their ancestors, explained the meaning of the glowing flowers, and introduced him to elder Valyrians who shared wisdom about harmony and survival. Ethan listened carefully. He realized that understanding the Valyrians' way of life was just as important as physical protection. The ancient oath was not simply about fighting danger, it was about comprehension, respect, and connection. That evening, they reached a small village nestled among tall, silver trees. Valyrians of all ages gathered, watching Ethan with curiosity and caution. Children whispered, adults observed silently. Ethan felt their eyes on him, not judging but assessing. Lysera spoke to the crowd. "This human has chosen to honor the ancient oath. He has saved many today, and he will continue to learn. Let him rest, for tomorrow the trials continue." The villagers relaxed slightly, and Ethan was offered a place to sleep. He lay on a soft mat, staring at the glowing canopy above. Thoughts raced through his mind. He had faced dangers today he never imagined, yet he had survived. He had protected lives not just with strength, but with intelligence and care. Still, he knew the true test was only beginning. Lysera had warned him that the forest itself judged his heart. Tomorrow, the challenges would grow more difficult and the threats more dangerous. But for the first time, Ethan felt a profound connection to this world. He was no longer an observer. He was a participant, a protector. He thought of the Valyrian child he had saved, of the terrified herd, of the glowing river creatures. Each life was a thread in the fabric of the planet, and he could feel the weight of responsibility pressing gently on his soul. As he drifted to sleep, Ethan whispered quietly to himself, "I will protect all of you. I will honor the oath." Outside, the forest seemed to shimmer as if acknowledging his promise. Somewhere in the distance, creatures sang and the wind carried the soft hum of life. The trials of humanity had begun, and Ethan knew that his courage, intelligence, and heart would be tested in ways he had never imagined. But he was ready, and Aralune, alive and watching, waited to see if this human could truly protect all. Ethan woke to the soft glow of the Valyrian village. The air was filled with the gentle hum of the forest and the soft chirping of creatures he had not seen before. He stretched, feeling the ache of yesterday's trials in his muscles. Despite his exhaustion, he felt a sense of purpose stronger than ever. Protecting this world had become more than a duty. It had become a mission he could not abandon. Lysera was already waiting for him at the edge of the village. Her silver eyes reflected the morning light as she looked over the treetops. "There is unrest," she said quietly. "Others have come, outsiders who do not honor the oath. They seek to take our children and our resources. You must act." Ethan's heart sank. Protecting life was already difficult. Facing enemies who intended harm would be even harder. Yet he nodded. "Show me," he said. They moved swiftly through the forest, Lysera leading with her familiar grace. Soon Ethan could see signs of disturbance. Broken branches, footprints not made by any creature he had seen, and a faint trail of smoke curling through the trees. Something dark had entered this peaceful land. "They are mercenaries," Lysera explained. "They take without thought. They will harm many if we do not stop them." Ethan's mind raced. His human training was limited to observation and strategy, but he realized he could combine his intelligence with the Valyrians' knowledge of the land. Together they could defend the planet. A sudden cry came from ahead. Ethan and Lysera rushed to a small clearing where a group of Valyrian children was cornered by strange humanoid figures in armored suits. The children clung together, terrified. Ethan's hands clenched. "We have to distract them," he whispered. He scanned the area and saw several fallen logs and clusters of glowing plants. Thinking quickly, he grabbed a handful of the glowing flowers and tossed them toward the mercenaries. The light startled them, causing them to step back. Ethan then picked up a thick branch and used it to trip one of the attackers. Lysera moved with fluid precision, weaving between the humans and the children. She placed her hands in front of her, and a faint, shimmering shield formed, deflecting attacks without harming anyone. The combination of Ethan's quick thinking and Lysera's abilities created a strong defense. The mercenaries regrouped and lunged again. Ethan realized they would not be stopped with simple tricks. He turned to Lysera. "We need a trap." "Something clever," she nodded. "The forest itself can aid you, human. Use it wisely." Ethan quickly studied the surroundings. Large vines hung from the trees above, and several smaller predators prowled nearby. He formulated a plan. Using vines and rocks, he set a snare designed to trip the mercenaries while keeping the children safe. He even guided some of the small predators, which normally avoided humans, toward the attackers. The creatures startled the mercenaries, giving Ethan and Lysera the opening they needed. With a coordinated effort, they drove the outsiders away. The mercenaries fled, shouting warnings and threats, but Ethan knew this was only the beginning. Others could return, and the planet's safety depended on preparation and vigilance. When the clearing was finally quiet, Ethan turned to the children. "Are you all right?" he asked gently. They nodded, eyes wide with awe. One small child tugged at his sleeve. "You saved us," the child whispered. Ethan smiled. "We saved each other," he corrected. Lysera appeared beside him, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Your human instincts are strong. Courage and intelligence together can achieve much. But remember, you cannot save one and ignore others. The oath binds you to all." Ethan's mind replayed her words. He understood that protecting the Valyrians required more than immediate action. It required planning, foresight, and understanding. He had to anticipate threats, not just react to them. That evening, Ethan and Lysera walked to a small hill overlooking the forest. The sun dipped low, casting long shadows, and the forest shimmered with the soft glow of bioluminescent plants. Ethan felt the weight of responsibility more than ever. "Human," Lysera said softly. "You must learn to see through the forest, not just with your eyes, but with your mind. Danger is not always visible. Sometimes it comes quietly like a whisper on the wind." Ethan nodded. "I understand. I'll watch. I'll learn." Lysera studied him carefully. "You have learned much in a short time. Many humans would have failed the first trial. You did not. That gives me hope. But hope alone is not enough. The darkness is patient and it tests all who enter Araloon." The next day, Ethan faced another challenge. The mercenaries had returned, this time setting traps in the forest paths. Ethan moved carefully, using his knowledge of the land to avoid the pitfalls and warn the Valyrians. He guided children through safe routes, led elders to secure areas, and even managed to capture some of the mercenaries' equipment for study. Each action strengthened his connection to the planet. He realized that his human skills, quick thinking, creativity, and courage, were uniquely suited to protecting the Valyrians. He could see patterns, anticipate danger, and act decisively. Lysera watched silently as Ethan coordinated the defense of an entire village. "You are beginning to understand," she said quietly. "Your human mind combined with your heart makes you a guardian." The oath chose wisely. Ethan felt a swell of pride, but also humility. He had saved lives today, yet he knew the real threat was not over. The mercenaries were clever, and their greed could bring disaster if he was not vigilant. Late that night, Ethan sat beside a small fire, reviewing the day's events. He thought of the children, the frightened animals, and the mercenaries he had outsmarted. He realized that protecting Araloon was more than heroism. It was patience, strategy, and understanding. Each life was important, and each choice had consequences. Lysera joined him, sitting silently for a moment. Then she spoke. "Tomorrow the challenges will grow. The mercenaries will try again. You must be ready to defend not just a few, but all who call Araloon home. The oath demands it." Ethan nodded, staring into the fire. "I am ready," he said firmly. "I will protect them." "All of them." Lysera's eyes softened. "Good, your heart is strong. Your mind is clear. That is what the forest sees. You are not just a human. You are a protector." As they sat together, the forest seemed to respond. Lights flickered among the trees, and the soft hum of life carried through the air. Ethan understood that Araloon itself was alive, aware, and judging. Every step he took, every choice he made mattered. The night passed quietly, but Ethan did not sleep fully. He knew the mercenaries would return, and next time, the challenge would be greater. He reviewed every strategy, every trap, and every protective measure. He was learning quickly, combining human ingenuity with Lysera's wisdom and the forest's guidance. By morning, he was ready. The first light of day illuminated the forest, and Ethan felt a renewed sense of purpose. He had faced fear, danger, and uncertainty, yet he had prevailed. The Valyrians trusted him, the forest acknowledged him, and he had proven to himself that humanity could rise to challenges even in alien worlds. Lysera approached him. "Today will be the test. The mercenaries are clever, but your mind is sharper. Remember, human, courage alone does not win battles. Strategy, understanding, and protection of all life, that is what the oath demands." Ethan squared his shoulders. "I understand. Let them come. I will protect Araloon." Lysera smiled faintly. "Good. Then let the next trial begin." As the first glimmers of sunlight danced through the silver leaves, Ethan felt a surge of determination. He was no longer merely an explorer. He was a guardian. The oath had chosen him, and he would honor it. Whatever challenges lay ahead, he would face them, for the lives of all on this beautiful, fragile world depended on him. And in that moment, Ethan knew something profound. Humans were capable of more than survival. They could protect, inspire, and unite. Araloon was his responsibility, and he would not fail. The dark threat loomed, but humanity had found its place among the stars. The morning sun cast long shadows across the Valyrian village, but Ethan sensed the tension in the air. Birds did not sing, Small creatures stayed hidden, and even the leaves of the glowing trees seemed to quiver in warning. The mercenaries had returned. This time they came with larger numbers, armed with strange weapons, determined to take what did not belong to them. Lizera appeared at his side, her silver hair gleaming in the light. "They are stronger this time," she said quietly. "You must act swiftly and wisely, human. The oath is not only courage, it is strategy." Ethan's mind raced. He had faced danger before, but never an attack of this scale. Protecting all life on the planet would test every skill he possessed. He looked around the village, observing the Valyrians. Children huddled near elders, glowing creatures scurried to safe corners, and the terrain offered both danger and opportunity. "We need defenses," Ethan said, already moving. "We can use the forest itself. The terrain, the plants, the animals, they can all help." Lysera nodded. "The forest listens to those who respect it. Use it, but wisely. Do not harm the land or you harm your people." Ethan quickly organized the villagers. He assigned children and elders to safe shelters, guided by Lysera's protective shields. Adults who were able helped prepare barriers, reinforcing natural defenses. Ethan scavenged materials from fallen trees, vines, and glowing plants to create traps and warning systems. He spotted a narrow path where the mercenaries would likely enter. He used glowing stones to mark traps and set up diversion points. Small predators were coaxed into hiding spots, ready to surprise intruders. Every detail was planned carefully, combining human ingenuity with the unique qualities of Heirloom. As they finished preparations, a loud roar echoed across the valley. Ethan turned to see a massive group of mercenaries advancing, their weapons glinting. The ground shook beneath the footsteps of armored soldiers, and the air grew tense with the promise of conflict. "Stay calm," Ethan shouted to the villagers. "Trust the plan. Trust each other. We protect all life here." The first wave of attackers reached the traps. Vines snapped, nets entangled, and the small predators darted out, startling the invaders. Ethan's strategy worked, slowing their advance and causing confusion. Yet he knew the battle had only begun. Lysera stood beside him, her hands glowing with energy. She formed shields to protect the children and elders, deflecting attacks without harming anyone. Ethan coordinated their movements, signaling when to advance and when to retreat. The humans and Valyrians moved as one, their actions synchronized, a combination of courage and careful strategy. Despite their success, a mercenary broke through the defenses, heading straight toward a group of children. Ethan did not hesitate. He sprinted, dodging obstacles, and tackled the intruder with all his strength. The mercenary struggled, but Ethan used his weight and quick thinking to subdue him until Lysera's shield immobilized the rest. The villagers watched in awe. Ethan's bravery inspired them. They joined in more confidently, using their knowledge of the forest to aid in the defense. Small groups of mercenaries were trapped, diverted, or forced back by the clever use of terrain and traps. Hours passed. The battle raged, and Ethan did not stop. He guided evacuations, reinforced barriers, and coordinated counterattacks. He risked his own safety repeatedly, diving into danger to save groups of Valyrians when the mercenaries broke through defenses. Every time he succeeded, his bond with the Valyrians grew stronger. They began to trust him completely, moving as he directed without hesitation. At one point, Ethan noticed a group of mercenaries attempting to reach the sacred river, where newborn Valyrians were hidden. He acted quickly. Using vines and weighted branches, he created a cascading trap that blocked the attackers' path. Water from the river sprayed into the air, blinding their vision momentarily. Ethan seized the moment to drive them back. Lysera joined him, forming a protective barrier around the newborns. "You are doing well, human," she said. "But the greatest challenge is yet to come. Some will try to strike at the heart of the sanctuary." Ethan understood immediately. The central sanctuary held the most vulnerable, the young and elders of the Valyrian population. If it fell, the entire species would be at risk. He rallied the able-bodied Valyrians and positioned them strategically around the sanctuary, using every skill he had learned to anticipate the attackers' movements. When the mercenaries reached the sanctuary, Ethan executed the final phase of his plan. He had prepared a combination of natural barriers, traps, and diversions. The attackers were forced to move carefully, slowing them down and exposing them to countermeasures. Small predators and forest creatures joined in subtly, surprising the mercenaries without causing harm to innocents. Ethan and Lysera worked in tandem, their movements precise. She used her energy shields to deflect projectiles while Ethan used ropes, nets, and carefully placed obstacles to control the flow of attackers. Each mercenary who advanced was met with both ingenuity and courage. One mercenary reached the entrance to the sanctuary and lunged at a group of children. Ethan reacted instantly. He dove, pushing the children out of harm's way and grappling with the attacker. The struggle was intense, but Ethan's strength and quick thinking allowed him to pin the intruder until Lysera neutralized the rest. Exhausted but determined, Ethan turned to see the mercenaries retreating. Their numbers were diminished, their strategy foiled by a combination of human ingenuity, Valyrian knowledge, and the protective power of the forest. The battle was over. The village erupted in cheers, but Ethan did not smile broadly. He knew the victory was only temporary. Protection was not a one-time act. It was a lifelong commitment, and yet he felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He had defended not just one life, but all those who depended on him. Lysera approached, her silver eyes filled with admiration. "You have done more than I expected," she said. "You have acted not only with courage but with wisdom. You have honored the oath, human. You have protected all." Ethan nodded, feeling both pride and humility. "I could not have done it alone," he said. "The forest, the Valyrians, you all helped. We did it together." Lysera placed her hand on his shoulder. "Yes, but remember, human, the oath is ongoing. Protecting all life is a continuous duty. Today you have succeeded, but tomorrow may bring new threats. The forest watches, and your actions will always matter." As evening fell, Ethan walked through the village. He saw children playing safely, elders smiling, and the glowing plants of Araloon casting soft light across the clearing. The sense of harmony was almost magical. He understood that his role was not simply to fight enemies, but to maintain balance, to ensure that life continued in its natural flow. He thought of the first child he had saved, the river creatures, the stampeding grazers. Every challenge had taught him something new about courage, strategy, and responsibility. He realized that humanity's strength lay not only in physical ability, but in the mind and ingenuity and in the heart. That night, Ethan and Lysera sat under the glowing canopy of the trees. The forest hummed softly, a sound that seemed to approve of their actions. Ethan felt the weight of the oath settle firmly on his shoulders. "I understand now," he said quietly. "Protecting just one is not enough. I must protect all. Every life matters." Lysera smiled faintly. "Yes, human. You see the truth. That is why you were chosen. The forest, the Valyrians, they recognized your heart. You are a guardian now." Ethan looked out over the forest, feeling a deep connection to every living thing. The Valyrians trusted him, the forest guided him, and the planet itself seemed to watch him with expectation. He knew the mercenaries might return, and new dangers could appear at any moment. But he was ready. His courage, intelligence, and determination had been tested and proven. Humanity had found a place on Araloon, not just as explorers, but as protectors, and for the first time Ethan felt a true sense of purpose. He was no longer just a human from Earth. He was a guardian of life bound by an ancient oath to protect all. The night passed quietly, but the sense of vigilance remained. Ethan understood that the path ahead would not be easy, but he was ready for every challenge. Araloon had chosen him, and he would not fail. The sun rose over the Valyrian village, painting the silver trees with gold and green. Ethan stood at the edge of the clearing, watching the forest stir to life. Birds sang, glowing plants shimmered, and creatures of all sizes moved freely among the trees. The air was calm, but Ethan knew peace was always temporary. Protection was never over, not on Araloon. Lysera appeared beside him, her silver hair catching the sunlight. "The forest is quiet," she said softly. "For now the mercenaries have fled, but their kind will always seek to take what does not belong to them. You must remain vigilant." Ethan nodded. He felt the weight of the oath strongly now, a responsibility that stretched beyond a single day, beyond a single challenge. "I understand," he said. "I will remain vigilant. I will protect all of you." Lysera smiled faintly, pride in her eyes. "You have learned quickly, human. Not many could have done what you have done. You have courage, wisdom, and compassion. You honor the ancient oath." Ethan felt a surge of warmth. He had started as a mere explorer, curious about a new world. Now he was something more, a guardian, a protector of life on a planet that had tested him in every possible way. Suddenly, a distant roar echoed through the forest. Ethan tensed. He ran to the hill overlooking the valley and saw a massive creature approaching, larger than any he had encountered. Its scales shimmered with deep colors and its eyes glowed with intelligence. It moved not aggressively but with purpose, as if it were aware of the presence of the humans and Valyrians below. Lysera placed a hand on his shoulder. "This is the Elder Guardian. It is the protector of the forest, the final judge of those who honor the oath. You must face it, human. Prove that your intentions are true." Ethan swallowed. He had faced mercenaries, wild animals, and natural dangers, but now he would face the living embodiment of Araloon itself. He stepped forward, steadying his breath. "I am ready," he said quietly. "I will honor the oath." The Elder Guardian approached, its massive head lowering to examine him. Ethan held his ground, his eyes meeting the creature's glowing gaze. He did not attack, did not retreat. He simply stood, radiating calm and confidence, showing respect for the living being before him. For several moments, silence reigned. Then slowly the Guardian's enormous wings lifted, and it let out a sound that echoed through the valley. It was not a roar, but a resonance, a deep vibration that seemed to touch Ethan's very soul. He understood without words that the creature recognized his courage, his heart, and his unwavering dedication. The Guardian turned and soared above the forest, its wings scattering sunlight like a living prism. Ethan felt a wave of relief and pride. He had passed the ultimate test. The planet itself had accepted him as a true protector. Lysera stepped forward. "You have done more than any outsider has before. You are not just human. You are a guardian of Araloon. The oath is fulfilled, but it is also ongoing. You must continue to protect this world for its sake and for the Valyrians' sake." Ethan nodded. "I will, I promise." Over the next few days, the village celebrated, but there was no idle joy. Ethan worked with Lysera and the Valyrians to strengthen defenses, teach strategies, and ensure that all creatures and people were safe. His leadership had inspired them all, and even the youngest children looked up to him with admiration. One evening, as the forest glowed softly under the light of Araloon's twin moons, Ethan walked with Lysera along a silver river. The water sparkled, reflecting the bioluminescent plants around them. "You have done well," she said. "You have protected lives not by force alone, but by intelligence, courage, and compassion. That is why the oath chose you." Ethan smiled faintly. "I never imagined I could do this. I came here as an explorer. Now I feel like I belong." Lysera looked at him, her eyes reflecting the moonlight. "You do belong. Humanity has a place here, not as conquerors or outsiders, but as guardians. You have shown that your species is capable of greatness, of protecting, understanding, and respecting life beyond your own world." Ethan felt a deep sense of pride. He realized that humans were more than their technology, more than their strength. They were thinkers, strategists, and compassionate beings. He had proven that even on a strange alien world, humanity could rise to the challenge and protect life in all its forms. The next day, Ethan gathered the villagers and spoke to them. "The mercenaries may return," he said, "but we are ready. Together we are strong. We understand each other, the forest and the creatures that live here. We are not just survivors, we are protectors." The Valyrians nodded, their trust in him complete. Children held glowing flowers. Elders watched with approval, and even the smallest creatures of the forest seemed to acknowledge his words. Lysera placed her hand on Ethan's shoulder. "You have not only honored the oath, human, you have strengthened it. Your courage and wisdom will be remembered for generations." Ethan looked out over the valley. The forest stretched endlessly, alive and vibrant. He thought of all the challenges he had faced. The river creatures, the stampeding grazers, the mercenaries, and finally the Elder Guardian. Each had tested him, and he had grown stronger, wiser, and more connected to this world. "I will continue," he said quietly, more to himself than anyone else. "I will protect all life here, no matter what comes." Lysera smiled. "That is all that is required. Courage, wisdom, and heart. You have them all, human." As the sun set, Ethan watched the forest glow in hues of gold, silver, and green. He felt a profound peace. The village was safe. The Valyrians thrived, and the forest itself seemed to hum in approval. He realized that his journey had transformed him. He was no longer merely a human from Earth. He was a guardian, a protector bound by an ancient oath entrusted with the lives of an entire world. That night, under the twin moons, Ethan stood on the hill overlooking the village. The air was filled with the gentle hum of life. the soft glow of plants and the distant sounds of creatures moving freely. He breathed deeply, feeling a connection to every living thing around him. Lysera joined him silently, her presence comforting. "The oath is not just words," she said. "It is a way of life. You have proven that humans are capable of honoring it. You are part of Heirloom now, human." Ethan nodded, feeling the weight and the honor of his role. "I understand. I will never forget this. I will protect all as the oath commands." For the first time, he felt truly at home, on this alien world among beings unlike any he had known, entrusted with a responsibility greater than himself. He knew that challenges would come again, that dangers might arise, but he was ready. His courage, intelligence, and heart had been tested and proven, and as he stood there, watching the forest glow under the moons, Ethan realized something profound. Humanity was not defined by planets or stars, by technology or weapons. It was defined by the choices they made, the lives they protected, and the courage they showed when faced with the unknown. Ethan had proven that humans could rise to any challenge, that they could protect, inspire, and unite. Heirloom had chosen him. The Valyrians trusted him, and the forest had accepted him. The ancient oath was fulfilled, and yet it continued, a living promise that would guide him forever. He looked at Lysera, then at the village below. "We've done it," he said softly. Lysera smiled, her eyes reflecting pride and admiration. "Yes, human. Together we have done it. You are a true guardian of Heirloom." Ethan took a deep breath, feeling the wind brush across his face. The journey had been long, challenging, and dangerous, but it had transformed him. He was no longer just an explorer. He was a protector, a human who had risen to meet the expectations of a world that had never known his kind. And he had succeeded. The forest whispered around him. The creatures settled in peace, and the Valyrians celebrated quietly in their safe village. Humanity had proven its worth. Courage, intelligence, and heart had triumphed. Ethan smiled, knowing that whatever the future held, he would face it with the same determination, the same courage, and the same unwavering promise. He would protect all life on Heirloom now and always. And in that moment, under the twin moons of a glowing alien world, Ethan understood the true meaning of the ancient oath. He was a human. He was a guardian, and he would protect all.